What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY and the overall market. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, as far as Tesla is going, I just wanted to mention that Tesla is showing a lot of resilience. It was only down 0.05% for the day. It did dip quite a bit with the markets, but then it got bought back up. And as you can see, buyers are still trying to defend this trend line right over here. So compared to the broader markets, Tesla is showing a little bit of strength. It is still trying to hold up a lot better compared to SPY, which is down 1.5%. The QQQ is down 1.57%, and then many other indices were also in the red. So I'll talk more about the share prices in just a couple of minutes. I just want to mention that one of the reasons why Tesla showed some resilience is because we had some good news. We had the Tesla Model Y refresh come out. I made another video about that, so just watch that video to see more details. That's released in China and many other countries in the Asia Pacific. However, it's not in the US and Europe yet. Deliveries may be starting as soon as March, and that's a very, very good piece of news. Once again, just watch my previous video if you guys want to see more details about that. And then on top of that, there is some news that Mercedes-Benz is also adopting Tesla's supercharger network, and as soon as next month, they could be having access to them. That's a very, very good piece of news as well, and that is, once again, more positive for Tesla. That's part of why Tesla is trying to hold at these key levels. Now, for other pieces of news, just know that the broader markets were still in the red despite the fact that the unemployment numbers came out and they weren't too bad. But there's a reason why that happened. So I'm going to talk about that first, and I'll break down the charts. Just know that Nvda was in the red, down 3%. Apple was in the red. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, the majority of stocks were in the red. Tesla was flat, somewhat in the red, and then the majority of the market did end up coming down. Despite that, Tesla still showed some resilience as it was down. It was barely down. It was only down 0.05%. So it's not Tesla's fault. The whole market came down after we got some data and news. I was hoping the market would try to hold support and try to see a rebound, but we ended up failing. And I said that that could also depend on our unemployment numbers, and we still got that sell off. So why did that happen? What on earth is going on? There was some news that came out that we had Bowman from the Fed come out, and they said that as far as the market is going, we have to be very careful because the Fed is in a position where they may not be able to cut rates for a long time because there's going to be a risk of inflation coming up again. Okay, so that's the big thing that was said by Bowman that contributes to why the market started selling off. And then even as the economy is showing a little bit less weakness than before, that is still incentivizing the Fed to once again be a little bit careful with policies. So what I mean is this: when you go to the data, right, we had unemployment at 4.1% below expectations right here, and then non-farm payrolls are right over here at about 256,000 above expectations. That is showing some strength in the labor market. The problem is that this could be associated with inflation coming up again. So that's the reason why the market is a little bit more apprehensive. So the market has this view that for the new year, the Fed is not going to be cutting as much, and they're going to be a lot more patient. And another, another reason for that is because when you look at this data right here, we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment data showing that we're expecting a 3.3% inflation rate. That's well above the 3% target and forecast. So the market's worried about high inflation. The market is worried that the Fed is going to be less, a little bit less dovish, and they're not going to be cutting as much as we initially suspected. And with these worries, the market is still weak, even as the jobs numbers showed some strength in the labor market. Now, there's another catalyst. Just know that for Wednesday, we have JP Morgan Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, and a few more announcing their earnings. And then for Thursday, we have Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, and many more. And then in the upcoming weeks, we have Tesla announcing earnings in about I think in less than 3 weeks from now, in about 2.5 weeks, Tesla should be announcing their earnings. I think it's on the 29th. And then the last thing I want to say is that for next week, we also have PPI on Tuesday and then CPI coming out on Wednesday. So that's going to cause a lot of volatility. So get ready for some high volatility as we get closer to Wednesday. With that being said, what do I see for the market from this point on? Looking at Tesla, just look at this, guys. We had this trend line right here. We bounced off this. We love to hold this trend line of support. And when you zoom in right here, we're still between our EMAs, and we actually closed above the trend line. So it's a pretty good sign. So right here, we're holding the trend line. We closed just barely above it at 394. That's a sign that Tesla could be trying to go for that 400 target. If we lose support here, we're looking for a dip down to about 388 and back down to, the 381 area. So if we lose the trend line, we will show some weakness. If we hold this, we could attempt to rebound. As of right now, it looks like Tesla's going to consolidate Maybe see some dips here and there, but I think ultimately they're going to be buyers who try to defend this trend line. There might be an attempt to get back up to 400 just to start things off. Now, even if we do push to 400, we'll see if we get a rejection later on and we get some kind of rejection off our 20 EMA like this. To continue to start dumping if the market does see that downside, because every time Tesla's bounced, we have seen a rejection. It's continuing to make lower highs, but we haven't officially lost this support. We're still riding this up, so we haven't really done that yet. So what I think is going to happen is this: we're going to most likely just do this, where we test the trend line, we just kind of ride this up like this, and we might just try to make our way up to 400. Then we'll have to see if Tesla gets some kind of rejection later on or not, or if we just continue to ride this and get that bounce. But for now, expect us to ride this trend line up to about 400, and we'll see if Tesla gets a rejection or not. For now, it's showing a lot of resilience and it favors upside, just for the very, very short term. That's despite the fact that the market's showing weakness. The issue I see is that SPY has this giant head and shoulders. There's a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. If we lose support at 577 to 580, excuse me, we're looking for a dump back down towards 574 and then eventually 570. If we manage to get bought back up and we reclaim 584, we're looking for a bounce. Overall, with the head and shoulders, I think that there's a risk of us coming down lower towards that 577 area or below. We might see a temporary bounce next week, but then we could continue to fall off this head and shoulders. So far, it has a lot of merit and showing a lot of weakness for the markets. Nvidia is showing some weakness. We need to try to get back above 138. Otherwise, we favor move down to 132. We might be testing 132 before we try to see some kind of bounce, so just keep that in mind. ES looks a bit more bearish because we have a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. If we can't hold above 5,900, we're looking for a dump down to about 5,880. And then eventually lower levels like 5825 could be coming or below, so just keep that in mind. For other tickers, like I said about Tesla, we're watching this trend line hold. So this is showing some resilience compared to SPY. Might be trying to get closer to 400. For NQ, we're looking a little bit more bearish as we're making lower highs. We got to try to reclaim 21,000. Otherwise, 20,800 could be coming for another rejection. So I do see weakness too with the bearish wedge. Same thing with the QQQ. Same setup like this. We're making lower highs. We got to get back above 507 and 512. Otherwise, we favor a move closer to 500 flat. So I see weakness on the QQQ. Aapl is showing weakness. We were supposed to hold above 138. We came all the way down to about 133, so we could attempt to retest 138 before it rejects and starts dipping to 132. So keep that in mind. For the Russell 2000, we're showing weakness. We're barely holding support around this 216 area, but we're continuing to make a downtrend move. So it could push here and then continue to fall. And I think 215 could be a potential target as we're making lower highs here. So just keep that in mind as we have a bearish divergence. We could be on our way back down to about 215. For other factors out there, we also happen to have, let me just double check this coin. Coin is technically on a downtrend. So as far as things go, we're getting this big rejection right here. We're going to be watching this resistance around this 264 area. And we have the support at 252. If that fails us, we could be dipping towards like 248. So it could push in and start dipping towards, below 250 as we're on a technical downtrend. For Amazon, we have a little rejection here. We're making lower highs. So with this happening, we could be dipping towards like 217 and eventually back down to 215 as we're making lower highs here. I do see a little weakness. If we don't hold 216, we have this 200 EMA around 214 that's going to be tested. What is showing some strength, though, is Meta. We have a nice double bottom accumulation. As long as we hold 608 to 612, we could try to rebound for the 620s. It might be a small move, though, because we're very choppy right now because of how the market's performing. So I just want to see it hold 612 next week, and we could be looking for a little rebound. Microsoft is trying to rebound. I think it's going to attempt to get back up to the low 420s before it rejects again. It's technically on a downtrend. Might be a small bounce for 420 before it rejects. And then for Google, we told 193, otherwise we could be tipping towards 191. So I see weakness in Google, and I think 191 is a potential target or below. So as far as Tesla goes, Tesla, it held a lot better than the markets. We might slowly try to creep up for just under 400, but then we'll see if we get a rejection or not. We're riding this trend line quite well, so we'll give this some time to develop. With that being said, guys, I want to thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I also want to say that I really appreciate you guys so much for your attention. I will most likely not be uploading a video tomorrow. I just want to rest for a bit, but I'll be back for sure by Sunday. So please don't panic if I don't upload a video tomorrow. I just want to rest a little bit, but I'll be back on Sunday, fully recovered, hopefully. And I just want to wish you all the best. So enjoy the weekend, guys. Enjoy some football. I know the playoffs are starting very soon. I hope you guys just have a great rest of your day. And I just want to wish you all the best, at least moving forward. So thank you for listening. I'll see you guys very soon by Sunday, and peace out.